exploring machine learning and deep learning algorithm for natural language processing applications. A very warm welcome from Department of IT, VNR Vijayati. Today we have sessions on building sequence labeling by Dr. Somaraju sir from NIT Partner, deep learning for machine translation by Dr. K. Satyababu, IIIT Kurnool, and multilingual zero-shot learning by Dr. Sunny Rai Madam, Mahindra University, Hyderabad. Now, at present, we are going to have the session on building a sequence labeling by Dr. Somaraju Suvari sir from NIT Patna. Oh, welcome you, sir. Very good morning to this
Thank you.
Atal FP session, sir. Welcome from Department of IT, sir. Before hand over
Yeah.
the session to Dr. Somaraju, sir, let me introduce sir to the participants. Dr. Somaraju Suvari, sir, is an assistant professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering at NIT Patna. He completed his master's from Indian Institute of Engineering, Science and Technology, Shibpur, formerly a Bengal Engineering and Science University in 2009, and PhD from National Institute of Technology, Warangal in 2015. He has 7 years of teaching experience and published papers in international journals and international conferences. He has been the principal investigator of a research project sponsored by TechWhip and act as a co-principal investigator of a research project approved under TechWhip Collaborative Research Scheme. Dr. Somaraju Suvari sir currently he is guiding a 6 PhD student. We welcome you, sir, once again from IT department to take over the session on building sequence labeling in Atal FDP, sir. I request you to take over the session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, madam.
Yes, sir.
So thank you for introducing me. Today I'm going to give a session on sequence labeling. So let's start the session. And in this particular session, I'm going to introduce the what is sequence labeling and what are the different tasks comes under this sequence labeling. So after that, we'll discuss about two different models which are used for solving the sequence labeling task. So one, I'm going to discuss about HMM model for the POS tagging. And another model I'm trying to discuss is recurrent neural network for POS tagging. And after that, we'll discuss recent advances in sequential labeling. So what are the different things associated with the sequential labeling? So this is my content outline. So let's start this session. So am I audible? Is it clear, my voice to everyone?
Yes,
Hello?
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
fine. Thank you. Thank you. So what is sequence labeling? So natural language processing has many applications and it is doing many different, we can solve many different tasks. But the thing is that NLP is very really complicated thing because till now it is really difficult that we cannot mimic the machines as humans are thinking, but we are trying to make as much as possible and as much as accurate information to get it from the machines. So in that NLP task, one of the important tasks is the sequence labeling. So there are many tasks we can do with the in the NLP. So one of the important tasks is the sequence labeling. Maybe you already have seen that sequence generation and sequence classification. And in that group, one more task is the sequence labeling. What do you mean by sequence labeling is that given a sequence of words, for example, given some set of words, we would like to find the best way to assign a label to each of the words. So means given some set of words like here given some sentence. So like a boy can do anything, for example. So a boy can do anything. So here we would like to convert this each and every word in this sentence to the another word. Like here, A can be converted into the can be replaced with the one label. Boy can be replaced with the another label. Like each and every word can be replaced by the some word which is semantically equivalent to that particular word. So this particular task can be considered as the sequence labeling. So because in this given sequence or the sentence, we are labeling each and every word in that particular sentence. So the sequence problem in NLP domain is a task that aims at assigning labels to category of morphemes. Morphemes means if you can divide that sentence into the basic unit things. So those basic unit things can be considered them as the morphemes that generally have similar roles with the grammatical structure of sentences and have similar grammatical the assigned
Excuse me, sir, we are unable to hear
labeling
your
is
voice, sir.
yeah, 1 minute, madam. Hello,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
hello.
Now it's okay, sir.
Is it
Yes,
fine now?
yes.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. And we have similar grammatical properties. So means we are trying to converting one sentence into another sentence with the equal number of words. So when you are doing those things, we usually how we can do is that it usually depend on the specific task. So again, in the sequence labeling, there are different tasks we can do, and based on that task, we are trying to assign the labels. So coming to the sequence labeling tasks, so there are many tasks mentioned in the literature. So I took 3 or 4 tasks. So the first one, part of speech tagging. So POS tagging means here given a sentence. So let's assign a part of speech tag to each word. Means given some English or any general language sentence. So for that language, in that language, we need to attach each and every word for that sentence in that sentence part of the speech, like whether the word belongs to the noun or whether the word belongs to the verb or it is adjective or some other thing. So like that, each and every word will be assigned with the label of the part of the speech, so to each and every word. So many words have the unique POS tag because in the sentence, many words like sentence may have the A, THE, like articles. Also, all those articles may have the same POS tag, but some words are ambiguous. So the complexity or the challenging task in this sequence labeling is that most of the some of the words are really ambiguous. So means we cannot come up with the proper POS tag for that particular word. So it may be because we know that in some sentences same word will act as a noun and also it will act as a verb also sometimes. So for example, here you can see that short. So short is short can be adjective like a short vowel. So in this case, it will be treated as an adjective. Also, it can be acted as a noun. So a direct to short. So in this case, it is acting as a noun. And also same word short will also act as an adverb to throw a ball short. So here it is working as an adverb. Or also sometimes it is direct verb to short an appliance. So means you can see that here the same word has the different POS tags. So the challenging task in this sequence labeling is that you need to come up with the uh, what is the proper tag in that particular sentence for a particular word. Like here, short, whether it is a vowel or whether it is a adverb or whether it is an adjective or verb or it is a noun. Okay, so how you need to exactly find out whether that word belongs to which POS tag. And figuring out which POS is the correct one depends on the context. So here you need to consider the context, the situation, in which situation the word is there. So given a sentence, in that sentence, you need to find out the context of that particular word in that sentence. Then only we can properly tag that particular word. So for finding context means you need to considering the neighboring words. So by considering the neighboring words, we will come up with the context of the situation. Like here, short vowel. So in this case, uh, we can consider that neighboring word vowel. so that we can decide it is an adjective. Like here, direct a shot. So considering this direct and a neighboring words, we can consider them. Now we can declare the shot is a noun. In the similarly, to throw a ball shot here. So in this sentence, by considering that neighboring words to throw a ball, so we'll come up with this shot will be assigned adverb device type. So in considering in come up with the context or finding the context of that particular word, you need to consider the neighboring words. So some of the methods in the machine learning or the deep learning are related to the sequence labeling. Some of the algorithms consider the context and some of the algorithms does not consider the context. Okay, so we'll see later on. And second task, so the first one is the part of speech tagging. The second one is the word sense disambiguation. So here given a dictionary which gives one word or one or more word senses to each word. For example, a bank. Okay, so for example, consider the word bank. It can be either a financial institution or the sloped ground next to a river. Means the bank, the term, the same word can be treated. It may be the some represents the financial institution, or it may be represents the ground next to the river. So we need to come up with the sense of that particular word, and given a sentence, guess the sense of each word in the sentence. So this is also really complicated task because here also you need to consider that context. If you don't consider that context, we cannot come up with the sense of that particular word. So here, guess the sense of each word in the sentence. So this is the second sequence labeling task. And the third one is more importantly, most of the people used to do named entity recognition, NER. So what is this NER is given a sentence, identify all the proper names. So like either it is in country like India or it is a fruit like apple, and classify them as persons, organizations, or the places. Means given a sentence, in that sentence, you need to classify the words as whether it is a person, the word in that word particular word belongs to the person. Okay, for Raju eats apple. Okay, so Raju eats banana. So in that case, Raju can be treated it as a person. Okay, or it may be in an organization, or it may be a place, or etc. So in the named entity recognition, the thing is that you need to assign a either for every word, whether it is a person, organization, place, or some other thing. So the typical way to set up this up is a sequence labeling problem is called biotagging. So biotagging, each word is labeled B beginning if it is the first word in a named entity. I, so if it can, if it is inside the word, or O, it is the otherwise outside the word. Okay, so generally we can biotag the things, like we'll start with the sentence can be converted into, like we'll treat it as whether it is a beginning word or it is inside the word or it is the outside or the last word, something. So other encodings are also possible. This is one of the encoding people use to consider biotagging. In the literature, we have other encodings are also possible. So the sequence labeling task, the first task is the part of the speech tagging. The second one is the word sense disambiguation, and the third one is the named entity recognition. And the fourth one, word segmentation. So this is also one of the important tasks. Recently, people are working on this. And given a representation of the sentence without any word boundaries, reconstruct the word boundaries. Means there are some languages in the real world. So in that languages, they don't have any spaces between the words. So they used to write the like in English, we have the we'll give the spaces between the words, but so there exist some languages like Chinese. So Chinese is the language where words are written without any spaces. So they in the Chinese language, they used to write the words without any space, so in between them. So it is difficult to settle on the definition of a word in such languages. So we need to reconstruct the word boundaries. Means if you given a sentence without any word boundaries, so the task of the word segmentation is, so segmentation means we need to partition. So here we need to come up with the boundaries. So where the boundary exists in between the words in the given sentence. And this situation may arise in any spoken language. So there exist many such spoken languages in the real world. And these are the four different tasks generally we'll do with the sequence labeling. And mostly people and researchers are concentrating on part of speech tagging and named entity recognition. Means most of the literature devoted in the sequence labeling is both of these works, part of the speech and the named entity recognition. And these are the tasks generally we'll do with the sequence labeling. There are other also there in the literature. So I just mentioned only these four. And next, we'll discuss about the one of the method. So one of the more successful method and earlier method. So which is used for the POS tagging. So here I have used for the POS tagging. I'm taking example for POS, but same HMM model can also be used for the NER, so named entity recognition also. Okay, and I'm giving the credit to this particular person who has developed some articles on this POS tagging. So I just followed his articles and prepared this particular content. Uh, what is POS tagging? So tagging the words in sentences with the respective parts of speech. So already mentioned. And for example, noun, verb, adverb, adjective, etc. So look at this example here. Rakesh has a small cat. So Rakesh has a small cat. This is a given sentence. Now, how we'll do the POS tagging refers here is Rakesh. Rakesh will be assigned with the noun. So Rakesh is a name. So in this particular sentence, it is acting as a noun, and has will acting as a verb in the sentence. And a is a determiner or article, something, and small is the adjective. Okay, and finally, cat. Cat is also noun in this particular sentence. So that look at the each and every word in the sentence, and you need to assign the respective part of speech tag to the particular word. So Rakesh has a small cat, so that Rakesh and the cat are the nouns, and the remaining words has as acting as a verb in this sentence, and a is a determiner and small is the adjective. So and it is so here has is acting as a verb in this sentence, but it may act as also different role in the different sentences. So consider this Rakesh saw will. So here Rakesh is the noun and sa is the verb and will is the noun. So W will is the name of the person here. So here will is acting as a noun. So and Rajesh saw Rakesh. So here also noun, verb and the noun. Okay. And POS tagging. So look at the general and the brute force type of solution here is that first in any POS tagging concept, first of all, we need to collect the label data. So the thing is that we have to it is a supervised modeling machine learning type of thing. So here we need to collect the label data, means every sentence and the label assigned for each and every word in the sentence. So the first task is you need to come up with the label data. And the second task is the create a lookup table. And most of the machine learning techniques or the deep learning techniques are also taking the help of the lookup table. So what is the lookup table means tag each word with the most common part of speech. So means tag the each and every word with the most common part of the speech, means relevant POS tag to the each and every word. So that is called it as we need to create a lookup table and tag our target sentence. So finally, after creating the lookup table, so consider the target sentence, and in the target sentence, attach the most common POS associated with it. Okay, so means most common. What is the term? Why we are using that most common means most frequently means in the given training data set. So any word like here we consider that will. So will can be considered it as a name or also consider it as the verb. So noun or the verb. Two roles it can play. So which role it is playing more, that will be assigned to the uh, that will be assigned in the target sentence. Okay, so in the target sentence we have the word will, then we'll assign the tag, which is more number of times repeated in the lookup table. Okay, so these are the three steps we need to follow for come up with a, solution for the p-wise tagging: collecting the data, and after that we need to create a lookup table, and finally after creating the lookup table you need to tag our target sentence. So look at here, this is the given, I'm considering the two examples. So one, Rakesh saw will. So here noun, verb, and the noun, and Rajesh saw Rakesh. So noun, verb, and the noun. So how to construct the lookup table here? So look at here. So in the lookup table, it consists of the how many words are there in the given data set. So those many number of rows will be constructed, and columns will be how many rows are the how many labels are there. So those many columns will be constructed. So here we have only noun and the verb, only two labels are there. So the two columns. And the Rakesh, if you consider the Rakesh has been presented in two times in the given data set. In the first sentence, Rakesh is acting as a noun, and also in the second sentence also he is acting as a noun. So in the Rakesh, the count is uh, is two, and he is not acting as in a verb in any sentence. So its value equal to 0. Similarly, Sa, if you can see that Sa, it is also present in the two times, and in both the times it is acting as the word. Under Rajesh, so Rajesh is present only one time and acting as a noun. Similarly, Will is present only once and acting it as the noun. Okay. So now, given a target sentence like this, Rajesh saw will. Okay, Rajesh saw will. So Rajesh, so we'll see that lookup table. So for the Rajesh here, noun is count is 1 and verb count is 0. So the most appropriate verb, PYC is the noun. So noun will be assigned to the Rajesh. Similarly, Sa. So in the Sa also there is no confusion. Two times it is acting as a verb. So verb, and also will. So will be acting as a noun. So noun will be assigned to this. Okay. So this is fine, but this particular solution does not work in the real time. Why it does not work means, so consider the another example here. So Rakesh will see will. So first sentence I modified like this: Rakesh will see will, and second sentence Rajesh will see Rakesh. So now you can see that. So in the first sentence, Rakesh is a noun, and the first will be modal verb, and the second see will be the verb, and will in the last word in the first sentence is a noun. So this is the given data set with the proper labels, correct labels. So in the second sentence also, Rajesh is acting as a noun, will is a modal verb, and C is the verb, and finally the Rakesh is also noun. Now you construct the lookup table. So here we have the four words in the both the sentences, so that we get the four rows, and there are three labels as distinct labels are there. So three columns will be constructed. Now Rakesh, there is no confusion. It is both the times noun, and also C is a word. It is both the times. It is a verb. And coming to the Rajesh, so he is also present only one time, and it is also acting as a noun. But coming to the will, so in the first sentence, will has been presented two times. So one time it is acting as a modal verb, another time it is acting as a noun. So and also in the second sentence there is only one will is there. It is acting as a modal. So here modal count is two, and noun count is one. Okay, so this is the way we need to construct that lookup table. After constructing the lookup table, now see the target sentence. Rajesh will see will. So Rajesh will see will. So Rajesh. So look at that row corresponding to the Rajesh. So there is only one column with non-zero noun. So it will be assigned as a noun. So there is no issue. And will. So will has in two columns it has the non-zero values. So in one column it is acting as a noun at one time, and it is acting as a modal verb in the two times. So whichever is the bigger value or more frequently, more occasionally occurring, that will be assigned to the in the given sentence. So here will be assigned modal, and there is no confusion. It is it is also modal in this sentence. But coming to the C is also verb, so there is no issue. But finally coming to the will, so here when you considering that the last word in the given target sentence will, so here actually according to the lookup table and that process, so this will be assigned model. But here actually will is the noun, so noun cannot be assigned because noun value is smaller than the model. So the general solution is saying that you need to assign the more appropriate or more number of times repeated words, so more number of times repeated role. So here model is repeated two times, so that here model you only will be assigned, but model is not the proper thing. So why it is happening here is that because we did not consider the any context. So means uh, here in the with respect to the if you can consider the context, the first will be acting as a model, and with respect to the if you can consider the context, the last one we can decide that will be as a noun. So because in this general solution there is no context, that's why this solution does not work in the real time. So here the issue in the general solution is he did not consider the any context. So uh, so that people came up literature in the literature in the earlier days, people came up with the improved general solution. So in the natural language processing, we know that bigrams is the bigrams, trigrams, and n-grams. N-grams are the techniques we'll use. So here such a technique has been used in this improved general solution. Not exactly that background, but they will use the similar technique here. What they are doing here is they are considering the context, and context, as I already told you, that context means you need to consider the around words, so neighboring words for the word which word we are trying to assigning the label. So here now, you can take the same sentences I have taken. Rakesh will see will, and Rajesh will see Rakesh. So here in the row, we need to take all the combination of the adjacent words. So Rakesh and will see, and see will. Okay, followed by the Rajesh and will, and finally will see is already there, and see Rakesh. So coming to the Rakesh and will. So here this is the row wise. In the column also we need to make the combination of the uh, two labels. So here Rakesh is acting as a noun, and will is acting as a model. Similarly, for example, here there is no such situation where these are acting in two ways. So will see is acting as a model and the verb, and see will acting as a see is acting as a verb, and will is acting as a noun in the first sentence, and see Rakesh. Okay, so see Rakesh is C is acting as a verb, and Rakesh is acting as a noun in the second sentence. So after constructing such a table, now you can see Rajesh will see will. So here Rajesh, straightforward, it is Rajesh and will both will be considered. So Rajesh will in that case it is noun and the model. So the first one is noun and second one is acting as a assign the model. Second one will and see will consider will followed by the C, the second row. So here model and the verb. So already model is assigned and verb is second. And C and will. So in the C and will, the third row, you can see that the verb and the noun. So C will be assigned the verb, and will be assigned the noun here in this case. Okay. So this solution is improved one, but still it has also some issues. For example, if there is Rajesh and will, something is the third row. If you can get that something, it is acting as a name and the model, and also in another place it is acting as a model and the verb. Okay, so if there is a situation arises, and it is also really difficult for us to come up with the proper label for that particular word. For example, here it is two. So every time we need to assign the model and the verb for the Rajesh and Veer. Okay. So for example, I'm taking, but this is not the proper for the Rajesh and will. So if any such situations are there, this will not work. So people has tried trigrams and then grams. still they suffer the same similar type of limitations. So we need the some other technique to POS tagging. Okay, so one more people tried is a Markov chain model. So Markov chain model, which is a more successful model in the machine learning techniques. So where we need to consider the finite state automation that has probability associated with each transition, where the input uniquely defines the transitions that can be taken. So simply, what is the Markov means? Uh, mm, if you can consider the first order Markov chain, so we need to find out the probability of the what is the probability? It is qi, so state qi, given states q1 to qi minus 1. So we are considering in the first order. So here it does not depend on the q2 to qi minus 1. It only consider that its previous state. Okay, so it's previous state. Sorry, it does not consider the q1 to qi minus 2. It simply consider only qi minus 1. Means if there are two states are there, and this is the q1 and q2. So in this case, q2 will consider only q1. So maybe q naught is there, for example. So it does not consider the any previous states. So it consider only uh, exact previous state for the given state. So here probability of qi is nothing but given q1 to qi minus 1. Still it is equivalent to the in the first order Markov chain probability of qi given qi minus 1. So it is also more or similar to the previous bigram type of thing. Okay, so there also little bit difference is there, but there we are considering the count only. Here we are considering the probabilities. So it also suffers with the same such a type of limitations. If the it cannot come up with the proper context also. Okay, so Markov chain models also does not work. So they have come up with uh, the probability of all outgoing arcs sum to be one. That is the basic assumption in the Markov chain model. The Markov chain can be traversed to compute the probability of a particular sequence of labels. Okay, and so this Markov chain also suffers with the same type of problem. So finally, people come up with the one proper solution, HMM model, hidden Markov model for POS tagging. So what is this hidden Markov model? A hidden Markov model is used to find the best assignment of class labels for a sequence of input to tokens. So that is the task of the sequence labeling. So hidden Markov model is used to for the POS tagging or sequence labeling. Okay, to assignment of the class label sequence of given input tokens. It finds most likely sequence of labels for the input as a whole. Means it considers that the entire sentence as a whole. The input to tokens are the observed events. So here hidden things are the in the HMM model, the input to token, whatever the input token are there, they are considered the observed events. By observing those events, it will come up with the hidden events. So the class labels are the hidden events here. Okay. So such as part of speech tags are the named entity classes. So named entity classes names are the locations. Persons are the locations. Those will be the classes, and in the POS tagging, tags are the classes. So it will observe the given input words, and it will come up with the class labels as the hidden events. The goal of HMM, hidden Markov model, is to recover the hidden events from the observed events. So here, ultimately, the thing is that the goal is that we need to recover the hidden events from the observed event. Here, observed events are the input words, and recover hidden events are the POS tags with respect to the POS problem. So each state typically represents a class label, the hidden state that will be recovered. So constantly we need to find two probabilities here. What is the probability that it is the word I? So given tag I. So for a given tag A, and also we need to come up with the probability. So what is the probability of tag I given the tag I management? Means its previous tag. Means this is similar to the Markov chain. Means HMM internally using Markov chain process also. And in HMM process, we need to calculate the two things. So two probabilities we need to calculate. One is the transition probabilities, and another one is the emission probabilities. So the transition probability is the likelihood of a particular sequence. So if you can observe that in the previous general solution, what we are lagging is that we are not considering the entire sequence. So due to that, we are unable to identify the proper label for a given for a word in the given sentence. So here, the thing is that transition probabilities. So here we are considering the likelihood of a particular sequence. So sequence consists of any number of words. For example, how likely is that a noun is followed by modal? Okay, how likely a noun is followed by a modal, and the model is model by a verb and followed by verb by the noun. So means what is the probability noun comes in a sentence, noun followed by modal and followed by the verb and the noun. So we are constructing such a transition probabilities. So internally the transition inherently the transition probability is extracting that context. And emission probabilities, what is the probability that the word X is a noun? Okay. And what is the probability that the word X is a noun? So emission probabilities, so it does not consider any surrounding words. Surrounding words are so only uniquely we will consider what is the probability X is a word and Y is a model or Z is a verb. So X and Y, Z are the words here. So these sets of probabilities are emission probabilities. Means ultimately you need to in the HMM model we are doing two things. One is finding the transition probabilities. Another one is the emission probabilities. So consider this example. So Mary Jane can see Will. Okay, Mary and the Jane both can see Will here, and Spot will see Mary. Second sentence: Will Jane spot Mary, and Mary will pet Spot. So in the right side diagram, I have mentioned that. So Mary Jane can see Will. So here Mary is so it is a given label data. So Mary is acting as a noun. Jane is also acting as a noun. Okay, so like this, consequently, Ken is a model and C is the verb, will is the noun. So in this sentence, similarly, other sentences also. So after getting this label data, the first step. So here the second step is the lookup table. So lookup table in terms of the two things. One is the emission probabilities. Another one is the transition probabilities. So first emission probability. So what is emission probability then? What is the probability of the word X is a noun? So here you need to consider in the row all the words in the given data set, and in the columns we need to consider the labels. Here we have only three labels: noun, modal, and the verb. So if we can see Mary, Mary has been presented four times. So here one acting as a noun, and in the second sentence is also Mary is acting as a noun, and third sentence is also Mary acting as a noun, and in the fourth sentence is also Mary acting as a noun. So Mary under the noun we have defined its value equal to 4, means four times of it has been presented. So similarly Jane is also two times noun. But coming to the will, so will here in the first sentence it is acting as a noun, and in the second sentence it is acting as a modal, and in the third sentence it is acting as a uh, um, sorry, it is also noun only. Sorry, it is also will. So will Jane spot Mary? Question. So it is in this context it is also acting as a modal. Uh, so and in the fourth one, okay, so will is acting as a again it is also modal. So here modal is repeated is three times, and will as a noun one time. So as a noun only one time, and as a modal verb, it is 3 times it has been presented. So similarly, spot and can see and the pad. Okay. So after constructing this emission table, so because we want the probabilities, convert them into the probabilities. So here the probabilities. So the first one, Mary, 4 out of 9, because there are totally 9 nouns are there. So in this entire data set we have, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all the blue color things. So 9, and Mary has been presented 4 times. So 4 out of 9, it is the probability. So similarly, Jane is 2 times. Okay, so this is the sum of the entire column. Okay, the denominator is the sum of the entire column. Similarly, here also model, it has been presented in the will is presented 3 by 4 times, so 75% of the times as a model. Okay, uh, here, and similarly can is presented only as a model 1/4 of the time. Okay. Because there are models are 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 models is represented in the yellow color. Similarly, others. Okay, so in the verb also. So after constructing this, this is the final emission probabilities table. And next, calculate the transition probabilities. So transition probability means, so considering the entire sequence here. So here, for calculating the transition probabilities, we need to add the start and the end tags here. So at every sentence, two labels has been attached. One is the start and another one is the end. So because we just want to, as I told you, that it is like a bigram type of thing. So two things at a time we need to consider. So start. So for the first word, it is the combination with the start. So here in the row and the column, we represent the total number of labels. So here original labels are 3, and one is the attached label E. So and there is no row with the E, because after E there is nothing is there. So first start and the noun. So start followed by the noun, its probability is 3. And the start and the modal verb, its probability is 1. And start and verb, there is no start and end, there is. So similarly, noun followed by the noun. So two contiguous nouns in the entire data set is presented only one time. And similarly, noun followed by the model. So noun followed by the model presented 1, 2, 3 times. So totally in the 3 times. Similarly, noun followed by the verb 1 time, and also noun followed by the end is the 4 times. So the last one, because every sentence is ends with the noun. So noun and end 4 times. So similarly, calculate for the modal and the verb. Now we need to convert them into the probabilities. So here we need to take the probability for the entire word. So here we need to consider the sum of the row. So in the previous case, we consider that column. So 3/4 of the times it is start followed by the noun, and start followed by the modal is 1/4 of the times. Similarly, noun followed by the noun 1 out of 9, and noun followed by the modal is 3 out of 9. Similarly, noun followed by the verb and the end. So this is a uh, calculating the transition probabilities. After calculating the transition probabilities, so now the task is that we need to consider the uh, target sentence. So let us consider the target sentence here. Here in the red color, I have mentioned here, will can spot Mary. Okay, so some sentence, will can spot Mary. So let us manually tag. So before, first we'll do that some manual tagging. So we will tag it as a some of the will as a model, and can as a verb, and spot as a noun, and marry as a noun. Okay. So let the sentence be tagged as will as a model, and can as a verb, and spot as a noun, and marry as a noun. So what is the probability uh, of this assigning these labels? So modal, verb, noun, and noun to the will, can, spot, marry. So look at here. We'll start with the, so in the below diagram you can see that one. So the first we'll start with the start, and followed by the first sentence is the will, and it is the model. So S followed by M. So S followed by M, it's probability. Okay, so it is S followed by model. Okay, so S followed by model, its probability is 1/4. So that is the 1/4 is assigned between these two states. And next second sentence is can is the we when have been assigned as a verb. Okay, and followed by the uh, spot. So spot is assigned in the noun. So model followed by the uh, mm, verb here. So the first one will and can. Sorry, will and can. Will is the model. Okay, so that M is the will, which is the model, and followed by the can is the verb. So model followed by the verb. So
I can't
model
hear
followed by
him.
verb.
Is he audible?
Hello, hello. Am I audible, madam?
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hello. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Thank you. Okay, now, this is a sentence we have taken, and we have been assigned randomly some labels to that sentence, the each and every word in the sentence. Now we are trying to calculate the what is the probability, the correctness of this assigning the label. So here we use this transition table and the emission table. So first we'll use the transition table. Using the transition table, okay. So we'll calculate this one. So here in the transition table, you can see, in the transition table, you can see that one start followed by the model. So because the first one is the start followed by, so will, first word is the model. So start followed by the model, its probability is 1/4. So 1/4 is assigned between these two states. So similarly, model followed by the will. So because second, first word is the model, okay, will, and second word is the verb. So the probability, transition probability between model to verb is the 3/4. So 3/4 is SI. So similarly for the other transitions. And also here you can see that will. So in the down model, so will is the model. So its probability is 3/4. So from the in the down, so you can see that one in the diagram. So now you can look at look at the transition emission table. So in the emission table, will model. So the probability for the will is a model is 3/4, and also the probability for the uh, second one verb. So verb which is can. So can is the verb. Its probability is 0. So 0 is assigned. So similarly for the remaining two words, spot and the marry. Now calculate the after constructing such a graph. Okay, from the both emission table and the transition table. So calculate the probability whether how much it is correct. We assign the labels. So here 1/4. So this is the 1/4 multiplied by the 3/4. Okay. So and followed by 3/4 and the 0. So total all the probabilities we need to multiply. So here at one point of time we have the 0. So total probability is 0. Means the correctness of this assigning the label is the 0. Okay, this is randomly we did. Now we'll see how it will happen in the HMM. So in the HMM, so here when these words are correctly tagged, we get a probability greater than 0. So let us assume that these have been properly assigned. So in this example, if you can look at this example here, so we have been correctly assigned because the first one will is a noun. So in the previous example, we have been assigned as a model, but noun, but actually in this particular scenario context, will is a noun. At the same time, can is the model verb, and spot is the verb, and marry is the noun. So after assigning proper things and constructing this transition graph by using both the transition probabilities and the um, this both the lookup tables. So we will get the if you can calculate the probability, we are getting some value. Okay, so something 0.0025. So this is the probability, correct probability assigning the sentence to this the labels to the words in the given sentence. Okay. And the thing is that here uh, So here we randomly did, but the thing is that in reality, we need to find out the all the possibilities. So means we need to find out all the possibilities. So there are exactly here. In this case, we may get the 81 different possibilities because we have the three different labels and the four different words are there. Okay. So it's totally something 3 to the power 4. We'll get the 81 different combinations of tags can be assigned. So this is a simple example, but in reality, it is really difficult for us to find. Is can you that is exponential process to go to find out all the possibilities and which one is getting the more probability. Okay, so generally it will not happen in reality in the HMM model. So in the HMM model, how it happens is, first of all, we will construct a full graph, so total graph. So by using that both transition and the emission probability tables. So this is the thing we can construct using that uh, emission using the transition table. So after constructing such a graph, so the next step is you delete all the vertices and edges with probability 0, because if there is anywhere in that particular given combination, if anywhere we have the probability 0, so the entire probability will become the 0. So wherever 0 is there, so you remove that one. For example, here you can remove this in the first line. You can see you can remove the noun. Okay, and also this model and this model, web and the web and the web. So these are all the things can be removed. And similarly, if you can see that one, in the remaining parts also, so you can remove some of the things, so which is going from this model, or which is coming towards this model. For example, model followed by model, and model followed by the second model followed by the third model. So second model followed by third model, its probability is also 0, so that we can remove this one also. Okay, this particular path also. And also third model followed by fourth model, you can remove this path. So you remove all the paths so which are getting the probabilities 0. So which is, you remove all the vertices which do not lead to the end points are also removed. So you also remove all the vertices which do not lead to the endpoint, because in the so we have given the input sentence in the form of the by attaching the start and the end tags, so that if anything any path is does not lead or going reaching to the end vertex, then you can also remove that particular path. So after removing such a path, we will get finally only two paths are remaining. So means out of 81 possibilities, we got only two possibilities. Now it is easy for us to calculate the probability for both the paths. So here uh, for the one path, so start followed by noun, model, noun, noun, and the end. So we got the probability of 0 for 0 point some 5 zeros and 8 4, and noun followed by the model, where and noun. So here we are getting the probability of so 0.00025. So out of the in the remaining probabilities, whichever is getting the better uh, whichever is getting the more probability value, that can be considered it as the proper assignment of the labels for the uh, given for this particular whatever, so for a given sentence. And in the literature, I think I did not mention actually, so in the literature there are some intelligent algorithms are there. So which paths to be considered. And means there are algorithms based on the dynamic programming principle, and based on the other algorithmic principles, we have the algorithms which can intelligently eliminate the unnecessary paths, and finally come up with means the probability list will be they will reduce. So here after removing the zero probabilities, we got this only two paths. So similarly, there are intelligent and optimization techniques are there in the literature. So using those optimization techniques in the HMM process, also we can reduce the number of possibilities. Okay, so this is the HMM model. So where so here the thing is that why HMM is more successful in the olden days is that because it is considering the somehow it is considering the context with respect to that particular emission transition table. So with respect to the because the transition table is inherently extracting that information of the context. May not be fully, but somehow it is better than the existing algorithms. That's why people has been used more frequently this HMM model. So this is regarding the HMM model, and this is the one thing. And I would like to discuss one more model. So POS tagging using the recurrent neural network. I'm not going to the basic details of the RNN, but how RNN can be used for the POS tagging. So I have taken information for this one for some article which I have mentioned here. And POS tagging using RNN here. So recurrent neural networks, we know that we have the many deep learning models are there. So feed forward neural networks, normal deep neural networks, and convolution neural networks, recurrent neural networks, and the variation of the recurrent neural networks like LSTM and GRU, and followed by uh, after recurrent neural networks, we have the some attention mechanisms and transformers, which is again based on the attention mechanism. So there are many deep learning models are there, but the more successful one is the recurrent neural networks. Why? Because the recurrent neural network is considering that sequence. So in the convolutional neural network or the normal feed forward neural networks, we did not consider that sequence. So here it is also inherently the time is associated in the recurrent neural networks. So these are the type of neural networks where the output from the previous step is fed as input to the current step. Means if you can see in this example here, so it was an SM movie. So here it is so here each of the here block will be considered it as the LSTM cell or GRU cell or RNN cell. Okay, and I am not going to in inner details. So each one will be considered as the uh, basic cell. So here it is applied to that first basic cell, and when you so it is providing uh, it is processing, and the processor output will be send it to the second cell, and also the second cell will process again, and the third one finally produces the output. So here, so basically in the this is for sequence labeling, but we may know that recurrent neural networks can also be used for sequence classification, where only the last cell will produce the label, but we are using it for the sequence labeling. That's why every cell at every step produces some output here. So recurrent neural networks are the more and there are many variations of the RNN networks are people have proposed for the this POS tagging or the REN type of applications. So in the literature, actually, if you can find in the last 3 years, we have the huge number of different works came for this using the RNN in the this language processing NLP. POS tagging in POS, the output in POS, the output at the current time step is not only depend on the current input but also on the previous input. So the why it is successful here is POS tag, recurrent neural network, because it when it is processing the second word, for example, was, it also consider the first word. When it is processing the third word, it is also considering the information comes from the first two cells, that is the first two words. So means inherently it is considering that context, because context is more important in our sequence labeling. So the output at the current stem step is not only depend on the current input but also on the previous input. For example, the probability of tagging the word movie as a noun would be higher if you know the previous word is an adjective. For example, if the previous word is an adjective, so it is more probability that uh, movie will be considered as the noun. So consider the following example. So I took this example from the same material or same article which I referred. So here you can consider. So the first half was very boring is the first sentence followed by the whole stuff. So here there are totally seven. So in the first sentence we have the six words and also one whole stop. So and this is the labeling table. Right side we have. So the first one, the is considered as the determinant, adjective, noun, verb, and uh, articles and the punctuation PC. That is full stop. Similarly, the second sentence and right side you can see that we have the assigned label. So this is the given input. It is a labeled data we got, and after getting this one in sequence labeling, we need to predict the output at each time step because that's why we are using the RNN. So every word occurring in the sentence, as we can see from the image, the previous diagram, we have the six words in the first sequence. We will get the six predictions. So how many words are there? So those many predictions will get in the output also. So for example, in the last word, we have the seven words. So that we'll get the seven predictions. And so since our input sequence are varying length, so one of the important thing with the recurrent neural networks is we need to make the every sentence with the same length. Means all the sentences in the given data set should be of same length because we are constructing the recurrent neural network with the fixed number of cells. So for example, in this case, you can see that there are five layers are there. Means it can process the a sentence which has the five words. So we want that one. So we want to make the sentences, all the sentences of equal length. So that for that purpose, we have been added wherever that, for example, in this case, the maximum length of the sentence is the last one. So last one has uh, the third, I think second one and the fourth one, both of them have the seven words. So that with the full stop, we have the eight words. So we'll add the with the EOS 9. Okay, so that we need to make the every sentence with the nine words one. For example, the first one we have added one padding, and in the third sentence you can see we have been added the two paddings. Okay, so this is the one thing we need to do the pre-process before applying it to the recurrent neural networks. So RNN will process the sequence of words only after it encounters start of sequence after SOS, and it ends when it finds the EOS token. Okay, so signals to the network that the input has reached to the end and the output needs to be finalized. Okay, so after EOS, even paddings are there, it won't consider that one. So so this is a pre-processing. So before giving it to the recurrent neural networks, so you need to do the this much of pre-processing. So after doing this pre-processing, you need to now build your model. So this is the general model looks like this. And one important thing here is that we cannot directly give this words as it is because this is the recurrent neural networks or convolution or any deep learning model. The input must be in the form of the numbers. So we need to convert them, the words into the numbers. So there are many techniques are there for words can be converted into numbers, embedding type of techniques. So here mostly people are using that one hot encoding. So here we have also used that one hot encoding. So in this one hot encoding, both input and output both can be converted into the one hot encoding because the input is given as a one hot encoding and the output is also produces as the something like a one hot encoding or maybe the same vector of the same size. So here we need to construct that one hot encoding. So we all know that one in the one hot encoding. So we will come up with the vector for each word. So in that vector, only one of the column will make it as one. So its position, and remaining all votes will make it as a 0. So like that, we can consider the one hot encoding. So for the recurrent neural networks, so one hot encoding is fine, but other networks like convolutional networks or the neural networks, one hot encoding may not that much a good one, because it lose that context. So here somehow this model itself is getting that context, but here we are losing that context. So one hot encoding is fine for the recurrent neural network, so we don't bother about other embedding the encoding techniques. So you need to encode the input first, and the encoded input will be given to the your model. So the input to the function is denoted in here you can see that orange color and represented as xi. So let's assume input is xi, and here uw are the uw and the v are the respective weight matrices. So the weight associated with the input is denoted as using the vector u. So means for the input, the vector is here we consider it as the u. Okay, and also so for si minus 1 for the previous state, we are multiplying the input weight vector of w, and present state we are multiplying the vector, weight vector of the v. So hidden representation si of a word is computed as a function of the output of the previous time step, and current input along with the bias. So here yi you can consider. So y hat I is the observed uh, mm, our predicted probability here. So y equal to some function. Okay, something here I have mentioned it is O, and so v multiplied by, so v is the vector and si is the another vector multiplied, and c is the bias in this case. And also in the first si is the hidden state we are getting. So hidden state, that hidden state is we are getting with the three things. So the last one is the bias, and the first one is the xi is the input, and si minus 1 is the uh, hidden state of the previous state. So hidden representation of the previous state. So using these two equations si and yi, so yi is the predicted value we are getting. So look at here, the hidden representation will be computed until length of the sequence. So here ft, so t is the my length of the sequence. So t is the length of the sequence. So hidden representation will be calculated up to s1 s2 up to st. Okay, and so this is the thing model. So sorry, and the final one with respect to the recurrent neural network. So first thing is we have been pre-processed, and second thing is we have been represented model for the POS tagging or the sequence labeling, and the third one is the you need to come up with the loss function, because uh, mm, we because we may not get the proper labels at the first instant of time. You need to do iteratively. You need to repeat this process. Okay, in the recurrent neural network. So we want a loss function. So at each and every step, we need to find out the loss function. So the sequence labeling problem, at every time step, we have to make a prediction. So at every time step, we need to make the prediction. That means at every time step, we have a true distribution and predicted distribution. Okay, so here means true probability, and also means because we have the label data, so we know that one. So true probability and the predicted probability. So look at in this example, you can see here the first one is the true probability. So here 1 followed by 4 zeros. So here because I'm considering the 5 labels. So pronoun, verb, article, adjective, and the noun. So 5 labels. So my output vector is of size 5. So my output vector is of size 5. So that my y hat, so that predicted one. Uh, so look at here 0 0.2, 0 0.3, 0 0.1, 0 0.1, 0 0.1 means the for the correct label it is assigning the 20% probability, and also it is assigning other probabilities to the other labels. Similarly, at each and every time step, we are calculating this probability. So how will you decide that accuracy of this model is? So simply using the any function. So using the your last function, since we are predicting the labels at every step, there is a possibility of making an error at each time step. So this is the because we are working with the recurrent neural networks, and we can make recurrent neural networks in two things. One is either you can get the output at the last label, okay, last cell, or you can get the output at each and every cell, because we are using sequence labeling, because and we want the output at each and every step. So making an error at each time step. So we have to check the true probability distribution and predicted probability distribution at every time step to calculate the loss of the model, because we have both the things in our hand, both the true probability and the prediction probability. You can use any loss function. So simple loss function is you can use the square root loss also, or any Manhattan distance measure also you can use to find the error. So in effect, all the training examples. So let us assume here I have the M training examples. So we need to consider the means the model accuracy. When you are finding the model accuracy, the thing is that you need to consider that all the training examples, and for all the time steps, we try to minimize the cross entropy loss function. We are using cross entropy loss function between the predicted distribution of the true classes. So this is the function we are using. So here we have the M training examples, and we have the so first training example, you calculate the uh, entropy cross entropy. So J1 to T. So here T is the number of words here in each and every sentence. So because we have been converted every sentence with the same length, so every sentence length equal to T. So there are 6 words are there. So in the you sum the error in the first word, second word, followed by all the 6 words of the first sentence, and also for every sentence, and do the average. Okay. So whatever you are getting, that will be considered as the loss function. That will be considered as the loss function. So means after uh, applying, going through the one phase, you will get the loss, means how much error is there in assigning the labels. So the objective, so the next thing is in RNN or any deep learning model, generally we'll consider the learning algorithm. So here learning algorithm determine the best possible values for the parameters such that overall loss, either squared error loss of the model is minimized. So here you can see the model. So W and B, so these are the we have W B will be assigned, and W U and are the parameters we are calculating. Here W11, so we don't require that one. Our W simply only W, V and the U. Okay, so maybe all those things, yeah, here V is also mentioned. So for all these weights, you calculate the errors, and we know that in using any back propagation algorithm, you can distribute the errors, and again you can run the second phase. Okay, and you need to run this algorithm. You need to so how many iterations we need to run? So when should I stop the my algorithm? So there are many criteria. It depends on that particular application. Either if you get the loss equal to 0, so if your error is 0, so you can stop the process. Or after some n number of iterations, for example, I can stop the procedure, and whatever after nth iteration, whatever the labels have been assigned, I will consider them as the final. Or else consider the error. So my error will be less than some value A, some value P. Okay. So if any criteria you can consider, either loss is equal to 0, or either it is repeated for n number of iterations, or in any after some iteration, if you get the error less than P, then also you can decide to stop the algorithm. Okay. So this is the POS tagging using the recurrent neural networks. So two things we have seen. One is the machine learning algorithm, which is the hidden Markov model for the POS tagging. Another one, recurrent neural network. Okay. So in both the algorithms, we have followed the same steps. The first one is we need to get the label data. Okay, and in the recurrent neural networks, we need to do the pre-processing, and after that, in the recurrent neural networks, we need to after pre-processing and converting that data into the numerical format and given it to the uh, s- uh, each, cells in the recurrent neural network. So in the HMM model, we need to construct the uh, mm, both emission probability table and the transition probability table. So using the table, we'll construct a graph, and by using that graph, we'll try to find the what is the proper way of assigning the labels. So these are the two popularly used techniques in the sequence labeling, but in the literature there are many huge number of works are there for the sequence labeling. You can see here traditional machine learning based approaches. So HMM is the one approach. So actually the same HMM also applied for the NER system. So that is named entity recognition system. So Bickel and ETL, these are the first people who proposed this HMM first time. So the model is extended by Jaho and Su, and they achieve better performance by assuming mutual information independence rather than conditional probability independence, because HMM using the conditional probability independence. We have seen that probability of what is the probability of the word I given tag I. So instead of the conditional probability, they have been considered mutual information uh, independence. Okay, and they found that they got the better accuracy than the HMM. And people also proposed the SVM based models for the sequence labeling, and which is so in the field of sequence labeling. So these two people, Kodaha and Masumoto, first proposed to apply SVM classifier to the phrase chunking task. I did not mention that chunking task. This is also one of the sequence labeling tasks, and achieves the best performance at the time. And several subsequent studies also using SVM for any tasks, and they also successfully got the better accuracy. Means initially people started with the HMM, then people also tried with the SVM techniques, and also that HMM will be extended with the maximum entropy models. So people for part of speech tagging and achieves the great results, better results. Some work in here also uses this maximum entropy model, and there is a one significance work is there, conditional random fields. So CRF model. So means later after HMM and SVM, people has also tried this CRF model. So CRF model are giving the better results than the existing ones, and they have shown that they got the significant improvement, especially in terms of in the part of speech and the named entity recognition tasks. So actually, I did not refer this one. CRF model is also very popular one in this sequence labeling. So these are the some of the traditional machine learning based models. Coming to the deep learning based models, there are actually huge number of deep learning models are there. Like probably everyone has been heard about the BET model. So BET is a 2008 it has been introduced in the literature, and it has been giving the better results. So probably if you can observe that in the squad data set, so most of the BET and its variations are giving the better results. So coming to the deep learning based models, so I have referred this particular paper. In this paper, they have been actually given thorough literature for this deep learning based models for the sequence labeling. So they have been defined different architectures that these walks adopt in three stages. So means the walks which are related to the deep learning based models, they have been walks in three stages. One is the embedding model. So the embedding model maps words into the distributed representations as the initial input of the models. Means as we have seen in the RNN, we have been converted our word data into the numerical. So similarly, they are also doing the embedding. Uh, so they used to construct the embedding lookup table. So generally, and the deep learning models generally use this lookup embedding lookup table. And in this embedding model, so the one thing they have used is pre-trained word embeddings. So generally, pre-trained embedding models they have been used in the NLP models. So general most of the cases initially, so people have been using the pre-trained word embedding models like Word2Vec, Globe, okay, etc. So these are the pre-trained word embedding models and character level representation. So people thought that word embeddings are not sufficient, although syntactic and semantic information are captured inside the pre-trained word embedding. The word morphological and shape information is normally ignored. Okay, so morphological and the shape information does not extracted from the pre-trained word embedding. So people came up with the character level representations. So in this character level representation, uh, mm, so there are convolution neural networks and the recurrent neural networks have been used for getting this information in the character level. So CNN and RNN, there are many variations of architectures has been proposed. This is the character level. And after that, handcrafted features are also came. Even though we have the deep learning models, we know that deep learning models can automatically extract the features, but people have found that it is also useful. You can come up with the handcrafted features like they are getting the advantage here. Word spelling features and gazetted features are generally uh, used in the handcrafted as an handcrafted features, so that they try to reduce the complexity of the model by introducing by using these handcrafted features. This is the third one, and the fourth one is sentence level representations. Even people have been using the so sentence level representations because existing research has proved that the global contextual information from the entire sentence is useful for modeling sequence. So entire sentence is understanding that entire sentence is also helpful in the sequence labeling. So people have proved that one. So instead of the means, they have been used both embedding character level and the these embeddings also. Along with them, the people have also used the sentence level representation. So in the sentence level representation also we have recurrent neural network based approaches and also convolution neural network based approaches. And the second stage here, contextual encoder. So the second stage here is the so so in the embedding model we are just embedding the input, and in the contextual encoder, because we know that context is more important. So here we are trying to get the context of the word in that sentence. So here also we have been used the RNN, CNN, and the transformers. So recurrent neural networks, convolution neural networks, and the recently the more popular one is the transformer, which uses the two attention at least two attention mechanisms. And third one, inference model. Finally, the inference model takes the representation from the context encoder module as an input and generate the optimal label sequence. So in that case, we have the uh, Softmax. People has been using that Softmax and conditional random fields and recurrent neural networks in the inference model. Means any deep learning based model has these three stages, and it is not the embedding, contextual encoder, and the inference model. So embedding, contextual encoder, and the inference model. So embedding model, and the thing is that it is not necessary uh, to be present embedding in every case. Okay, so in the embedding, we have been discussed about the four techniques. So out of those four techniques, it is not necessary that every model has to follow use all the four techniques. It is their choice. They will consider any one or two of the embedding models. Okay, so in the context encoder, and similarly, context encoder will definitely present in the deep learning models, and inference model finally this is also present. So these two models will be present in the deep learning based sequence labeling techniques. Embedding in this embedding, any one or more mentioned type of embedding techniques may present. And this is the thing. And so I did not mention actually properly what are the recent techniques specifically, but I have given overview of the so how deep learning techniques are working in the sequence labeling. But in literature, we have the many deep learning based models are there for the sequence labeling, and these are the references. Okay, so this is my lecture from my side. So any queries from your side, whatever I have been mentioned. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. I request participants, if you have any queries or anything that you want to know regarding to this session, building sequence labeling, you are invited to ask the questions here now.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, this about this POS tagging.
Hmm.
Some basic questions, sir, because I'm trying to do some project with my students, UG students,
Okay.
for that some sentiment analysis, something like some Amazon recommendation, something like that, a very basic level. For this POS tagging and using that IDF and this one TF. So, do we have a specific method of analyzing that, sir, or getting to know what exactly used to be has to be taken for a particular project or something like that, sir?
No,
Or in
actually,
NLTK only we get everything, we can just use NLTK and then it will do automatically on its own.
yes. NLTK will do automatically, but which one should be selected? What type of model we need to follow? It depends on that application only, because we all know that every model is not good for the every scenario. They have their own limitations. So when we are going through that model, for example, in this case, what we discussed in the first HMM model, it is not at all good to extract the entire context. So if we have the huge data set and the sentences are very huge, then we generally don't prefer that HMM models. We prefer that deep learning models. So it depends on that application, what exactly you are using, and based on that application, what are the strengths. So for that strengths, which model is suitable, you need to choose that one, because as you said that you are come up with the sentiment.
Yes, sir, like this reviews will be there, no, sir, like
Yeah.
Amazon reviews
Yes,
or something like that. So, I mean, this is
sentiment.
a just UG level project, sir, not a big
Yes,
one.
yes,
Just for them to
yes.
give an idea about NLP, and so I'm just trying to. I'm Professor Krishnanand from Bangalore, sir. So I'm just
Yes,
trying to initiate that thing. Even new for me also, so I thought it is good to learn and then
yes,
make
yes,
them understand these things. That's why I just
yes,
wanted
yes.
very very
It's a
simple
good,
basic one, sir.
yes, a good thing. So in that sentiment analysis, actually, it does not come under into this POS tagging or sequence labeling. Actually, it is the sequence classification. Mm. So sequence
Okay, okay.
classification task. In the sequence classification task, we will analyze that entire sequence. Then only we'll come up with the final conclusion, whether it is a positive or negative sentiment associated with that sentence. So it does not come under that sequence labeling. So you
Okay.
can refer that sequence class, because uh, even
Yeah.
RNN. So as I told you, in that RNN, uh, at every time step we are producing the output. Instead of that, if you can produce the output at the last step, either only two labels, positive and the negative, then automatically it will be converted into the sequence classification task. Okay, sir.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Because a lot of these terminologies are little confusing first time,
Yes,
like that
yes.
lemmatization, stemming. We are just going through the
Yes,
simple
those are all
literature,
basic.
so we are
Yes,
getting
yes.
confused, like what to use where and how to do this. That's why. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, any participants have any questions? Otherwise, we'll wind up the session. Sir, they are posting the questions in the chat window, sir. Like, how can we use a lookup table for POS tagging for Indian languages like Marathi and Hindi?
So Marathi and Hindi. So the purpose of the this lookup table is, so in the previous I think I have mentioned that in the general case, so we are only calculating that how many times it has been presented. So once we got this lookup table, from the lookup table only we are trying to assign the labels for the given target. So once you construct the lookup table, so how this lookup table we are using is that, so here you can see in this example Rajesh. So Rajesh, why I have been assigned noun? Because Rajesh will. So Rajesh is the first word, will is the second word. So here if you can see Rajesh will combination of the, so I will go to that Rajesh will row, and in that row which column value is the more, so that label is assigning to my particular target sentence. So means once you build the lookup table, it is a cakewalk for us to assign the labels for the target sentence by simply looking at that thing. Because in the target label, in the target sentence, generally we don't encounter any new words. So generally we encounter only the words are there in the uh, training data. So every word will be there in that lookup table, and respect to that word, we have the what suggested label is there in the lookup table. So just simply will look at and will assign that label to that word in the given target sentence. Yes, sir.
Yeah, hope you got the answer, Kalpana madam. Yeah. Anybody want to know